Okay, this isn't a complete attachment guide because I don't have experience with all the weapons yet. Specifically, LMGs I've just kind of been avoiding in favor of assault rifles. SMGs I haven't been using because I've been using this bad boy at close range instead. This is the Benelli with slugs. It is quite the little monster. It doesn't feel like a shotgun that should be in a video game, because video game shotguns usually only work at very, very short ranges. Whereas this thing is decent even out to 20 meters with the slugs, 2-hit kill. Within 10 meters, it's a 1-hit kill. It's pretty amazing. And the sound, I mean, I had the sound tuned down. For the recording, but God, the booms it makes, oh, it's so good. Doesn't have as long of a one-shot kill range as the 870, but being able to immediately follow up with another shot is invaluable, especially against multiple targets. So at close range, this is what I've been using. So I haven't really gotten around to using the SMGs. Bolt actions, I haven't been using because I've been using this guy instead. The SVK, you can put a bipod on it, you can suppress it, you can give it a up to 10 magnification scope. It is, in all respects, essentially a sniper rifle. It's just a 2-shot kill, always. It can't do 1-shot kills to the head, and it doesn't have a sweet spot. But, very importantly, it does not produce scope glint, which means you can actually be stealthy with it. You can actually pick people off and not have them jumping and darting around and gunning for your ass because they can see exactly where you are. Which is why I'd argue this is actually the best sniper rifle in the game. So that's why I haven't been using the bolt actions. What I have been using, I'm currently getting the G36 to 1,000 kills. I'm not there yet. I don't have all the attachments unlocked that I want. The two that I have gotten to 1,000 kills so far are the G3, and the first one was the M7 here. So, I'm going to go through and explain my attachment choices here, because they are different from what most people have been recommending, and I want to tell you why I'm choosing to do things the way I'm doing them, and why you should too. There's two things, stats-wise, that are king in this game when it comes to attachments. Number one, hip fire. Just like in Battlefield 1, hip fire is really good in this game. Like, really good. That distance is pushing it, but, within 10 meters, even a, range gun that's supposed to be for longer range work, like this thing, can still get a really tight hip fire spread with the right attachments, which means you can still use it at close range. You don't have to be, completely allergic to it, which makes you more versatile, which is a good thing. That's why both my attachments, the CQB suppressor, which eliminates the hip fire penalty that the normal suppressor gives you, and the green laser were chosen because they maximize the hip fire bonus. Now you might ask, why didn't I go for the blue laser, since it also gives you an ADS accuracy advantage when moving? The answer is, well, you can see I put it on the shotgun. I would put it on this thing, but I don't have the points to spare because I want to use a thermal optic. If I weren't using a thermal optic, 100% I'd go for the blue laser. Now that's a personal preference. There's a few reasons I love this thermal sight, besides the obvious. One, the sight's not that thick. It doesn't block that much of your peripherals. It's got a nice big zoom area, very easy to see. And it's got this neat little crosshair in the middle. It makes it very easy to be pinpoint accurate if your mouse movements are also pinpoint accurate, which mine not always are. But the ability is there. Unlike a lot of the other sights that you'll see here, like, I don't know, this god-awful thing, and its gigantic fucking red dot, which can literally block the sight of your point of aim, so you can't actually see if you're exactly on target anymore. Or, you know, other obnoxious things like this thing with the stupid circle around it. Or, oh god, what's the worst one? Probably this thing. Ugh, hate that. So for those reasons, plus the fact that, well, it doesn't work in here because these aren't actual players, but if these targets were actual players, they'd be glowing bright white, which means that even if they're wearing a camo that blends in with the textures, and even if they're only poking one little part of their body out, they will glow, and you can see them very easily, and then you can pick them off. That's why I like using the thermal sight. That's just me. If you don't think you need that, a couple other sights I recommend for being unobstructive and having non-obnoxious reticles. If you want something zoomed, the ACOG here, pretty thin sight ring, takes up a lot of your screen in the middle, nice big zoom area so you can see a lot. And it uses a chevron reticle, which means your point of aim goes directly above it, which means it will never cover up your target. You will always be able to see what you are shooting at. Love this sight. I wish there was like a 2 magnification version of it, because I just love the reticle and how, you know, nice and big it is on your screen. Alas, there was only a 4 times, which isn't always appropriate. The other one, the lower magnification one that I recommend, is this 1.75 times red dot scope. Again, the scope itself, pretty thin, doesn't take up a lot of screen space, has a nice open circular sight picture, no doodads or miscellaneous shit clogging up your view of the game world, and a relatively small red dot in the middle that you just put on top of the target and shoot. Very nice. But like I said, I like the thermal, not the 3 times thermal, because, good lord, look at how much space on the screen is hogged by this giant-ass sight, which is a shame because the actual reticle, right, with that very tiny little pixel dot in the middle is perfect for pinpoint shooting, but the sight itself is just obnoxious. I hate it. So, I go with the 1.5 times. Now, and obviously I had 5 points left over, so I put them on the fast mags. Now you will notice, Where's the grip? Why don't I have a grip on here? That's weird. Every gun guide I've ever seen puts grips on their guns. You would be right. Almost everyone does put grips on their guns. I disagree. I don't think it's necessary to put grips on guns. Let me tell you why. Because unless you are specifically going to these... Oh, by the way, also, if your gun has it, and if you're using it, if you're using it anything other than CQB, in which case you want a short barrel because it gives you a hip fire bonus. Go heavy extended because it decreases spread from automatic fire and it increases your bullet velocity, so it makes it easier to hit moving targets. The reason you'd go for a grip, besides the particular perks that say the angled or the bipod or the grip pod or the stubby have, right? The stubby gives you faster ADS speed, and the angled also gives you weapon draw speed, but primarily the grips decrease recoil. The higher ones do so for some kind of penalty, usually ADS moving accuracy, which you can cancel out with the blue laser, but again, you're getting quite expensive. Or in the case of the higher tier verticals here, just straight up accuracy penalties, period, in exchange for decreasing recoil. Now here's the thing about recoil as a stat. Unlike hip fire accuracy, or making your opponents glow, or bullet velocity, or reload time, or staying off the minimap, recoil is something that can be dealt with by means other than attachments. Which means we should save our points, and instead of spending them on recoil reduction, on things that you cannot counter either through the interface or by pulling down on your mouse. Now obviously, the recoil on some of these guns can be pretty significant. The M7 is a good example. It is pretty harsh on the recoil. It's not, Tabor tier, but you can see it jumps. It does jump in full auto. You can just pull down on your mouse to counter it, but the longer you hold it down and the more recoil the gun has, the harder that is. But there's two things that you can do to mitigate that problem without spending 20, 30, 45 points on a grip. Number one, as you can see, I am playing at 120 FOV. That's the max FOV. That will zoom out your view, causing the recoil from your gun to make your view jump less on the actual screen, which means it requires less effort on your part in terms of pulling on your mouse to compensate for it. By the same token, using a low magnification optic, so if we want to maximize this, we could go for... I don't really like any of these one-time sights because I think they clog up the center of the screen too much, but by the same token, if we use a one-times magnification sight, we will have no multiplier on that visual recoil that we've already reduced by playing at a high FOV. Thus, maximizing the effect of our mouse input. And you can see, even on a gun that is pretty bad on the recoil in full auto, you can still hit targets pretty well because the recoil is literally just being minimized visually on the screen, while my mouse input remains the same, thus making it much easier to counter. Now, because I like the thermal sight, obviously it's not quite 1 times, it's 1.5 times, but that's not that much of an increase. It's still very easy to control. So, between the FOV and using a low power optic, even guns with a kick to them, like this thing, can be tamed. And so, you can just spend your points on improving other attributes of the weapon that you cannot improve by moving your FOV slider, or changing your sight, or pulling down on your mouse. That's all there is to it. Now, I've heard stories of guns like the Tavor, which I've barely used, that have really bad recoil. So it's possible, in my adventures, getting to 1,000 kills with every gun I find interesting, that I will find a gun whose recoil is so atrocious that even maxing my FOV and using an unmagnified sight will not be able to tame it. And I will have to use a grip. And if I come across such a gun, I will let you know. And I will let you know what grip I used and why. But until then, I am finding very little reason to actually use one. Because we have alternatives. And there are other things I can be spending my points on. Like this lovely thermal scope. And my lovely suppressor that keeps me off the minimap. So I can get the jump on here.